Beautiful morning here in Leonardtown, and I just want to thank everybody for showing up this morning. I want to thank Cindy Slattery, who heads the St. Mary's County Committee for Doug Gansler. I want to thank Kathy O'Brien and Frank Taylor also for getting so many great people out here today. And we got a quick program. Everybody wants to get to work, and Doug wants to get you to work. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the Mayor of Leonardtown, Mr. Dan Burrows.
All right. Thank you, Phil. Good morning.
Good morning.
On behalf of the citizens and town council, as mayor, it's my distinct pleasure to welcome Doug Gansler, the next governor of the great state of Maryland, to Leonardtown, the county seat of St. Mary's, the mother county of Maryland. Doug has visited us many times as Attorney General, and I want to thank him for making us one of his first stops on his bid for governor. Doug, we look forward to working with you over the next 4 years and beyond as governor. Again, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Danny. Is Mr. Kane here, Mike Kane?
No.
If not, Dan Raley, could you come up and say a few words for us? I hate to put you on the stump, but we need a real good speaker up here. Thank you, Dan.
How's everyone doing? I didn't know what was going on this morning. I got a call last night from Bubby Knott. It says, "You want to go for breakfast?" I said, "Sure." He says, "It's a free breakfast and Dorsey's paying." I said, "Well, I'm coming." Looks like I'm not the only one who wants a free breakfast. I got to tell you a story about this gentleman. A couple of years ago, Mr. Dorsey and his brother was with Green Bay at the time, got a little group of us, and we went to Green Bay. And we saw the Redskins play at Lambeau Field. So at halftime, I'm back trying to get a $7 hot dog, and there in the corner is this fine gentleman, him and his boys, watching a football game. And I went up to shake his hand, and he says, "You're from St. Mary's County, aren't you?" I said, "How did you know?" He says, "'Cause you're good looking and you're poor." But this man never forgets a face, and I want to tell you one thing. If he's got Frank Taylor, Cindy Slattery, and Mr. Dorsey in his camp, he's going to be a good governor. Thank you for coming. Thank you for thinking of us. And thank you for having me up here, even if I was, I filled in for the guy at the college.
Our next speaker, back in 1974, helped lead the effort to stop the Stewart Oil Refinery from coming to St. Mary's County. I'll never forget when I got out of high school and I heard one of his first commercials. He is a lifelong friend of mine and my family. He is a lifelong waterman, 6, 7 generations. He is my friend. His name is Tucker Brown.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
Thank everybody for getting here today. And I just want to say, welcome to St. Mary's County. Wish you nothing but the best. We ask for no more than what anybody else asks for. Our community, our population, and our river and resources. Our Potomac River is one thing that we are definitely going to have to get together on and talk. It's not even recognizable by a lot of people. We are having problems, but we did get a program started of Oyster Blue Ribbon Committee. We've made already 2 good plantings into the Potomac, one up above, one down below. And some may not know the historic behind this Potomac River. This Potomac River goes all the way to Washington, right to the Capitol. We have George Washington's birthplace. We have St. Clement's Island. And it is number 4th river on the whole East Coast, from Canada all the way down. And we are going to be doing a couple other things. I'm not going to hold up day. I know you're busy, but I can tell you, this is a good man. I have known this rascal for quite some time. We don't get to see one another too much, but we will I do believe, and we have a lot of faith into you. And when you get to that little building up there in Annapolis that says DNR, might be a good place for you to start. Would be right at the top and come right straight on down. Congratulations.
Our next speaker has something in common with Doug. He's our top law enforcement officer in the county, our state's attorney. At one time, Doug was from Medley's Neck, and Richard is from Medley's Neck. And I tell you one thing, they're both fighters, and they stand up for what they believe in. And the good thing about Doug Gansler, he knows the difference between Medley's Neck and Newtown Neck, and he knows the way around the county. I want to introduce St. Mary's County State's Attorney Richard Fritz.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be here. Senator Dyson, always a pleasure to see you. You know, 15 years ago, I first met Doug Gansler. It's when we were called up to the Attorney General's office. He was first elected state's attorney in Montgomery County, and I met Doug, and he turned around to me, he says, "You a Democrat?" I said, "No, I'm a Republican." And I could see the look on his face. Now, how often is it that a Republican stands up in a Democratic crowd and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you one thing right now. The Attorney General of the state of Maryland deserves to be governor." I've worked with Doug almost every single day over the last 15 years. Most of you probably don't know, but every time we have a crime in St. Mary's County, we obtain a conviction, this guy gets a serious sentence. Public Defender's Office appeals the case to the Court of Appeals. It goes directly to Doug Gansler's hands. His office works with my office. We're committed to one thing, and that is to ending crime the best way we possibly can. And I can tell you, his office, and I've been probably a prosecutor for 30, 35 years, certainly a lawyer that long. I've seen many attorney generals, and I can tell you Doug Gansler is one of the best, hardest working attorney generals this state has ever seen. And I certainly recommend him to the people of this county for our next governor. Doug, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And we have, thankfully, we have a number of Republican state's attorneys that have been helpful in endorsing us and helping us along our way. It's great to be here this morning. Some of you might have seen me on T-Bone and Heather, or heard me on T-Bone and Heather this morning. I think I'm the only statewide Democrat that's willing to go on the show, and I love going on the show because they ask hard questions. And it also, I love being on the show because that means I'm here. I don't call in, I actually go and see them. As Phil mentioned, we lived over at actually the Dorsey home in Medley's Neck for a number of years. I loved St. Mary's County. I think I was the only Democrat that won St. Mary's County when I ran for Attorney General in about 20 years statewide. And you know, our biggest pitch today is that I'm here. I'm always here. I was here for Johnny's event. I've been to Johnny's event, I guess, for the last, I don't know how long, at least 10 years. And I'll be here next week. We have the Osprey Gala. And I want to make sure that the reason why I think that's so important is because I think the governor represents the whole state. And my opponent actually went to Prince George's County, Montgomery County, and Baltimore for his announcement, and that's it. We're doing 17 stops. Yesterday, we announced the governor for the governor's race. We were in Montgomery County. We had about 350 people show up. We went to Howard County, and then we were in Baltimore last night with about 200 some odd folks in the neighborhoods, and did our thing there. But of course, how can you possibly run for governor and not the very first place after the two big media markets? You come right to St. Mary's County. So we're here this morning. I love being here. Phil, you've been a great friend, and your family's been so instrumental in St. Mary's County, and you stayed here, and your brother's doing a great job with the Chiefs. They're now 3-0 as the Dorsey Magic holds. Tucker, usually you come in on the boat, There's no water right here, so you came. I've never seen you so dressed up. You look great. Thank you very much. Michael Caine was supposed to be here from the school. I try and go to the college every semester and talk to the kids. I love being with the kids, and I think St. Mary's College is the jewel of our state. I recommend for kids to go there all the time, smart kids to come down and go to the college. And it was, and of course, State Attorney Fritz, we already mentioned. So thank you also for all the elected people, that officials that are here. It does mean a lot to me, particularly in this race. So I love the colors of Maryland. I love the red, the white, the black, the yellow, and for that reason, and for many other reasons, I'm running for governor of Maryland. So I've been in public service for 22 years. I've run government organizations, countywide, statewide, national, for the last 15 years. I grew up in Maryland. My family is growing up in Maryland. I love the state, and I think we can go in a different direction. There's a number of issues that we've been working on as Attorney General, difficult issues that we've confronted with I think, practical solutions. One of the biggest issues that we've been working on have been the mortgage foreclosure settlement. We put about $1.5 billion into the state to keep people from losing their homes. That's been able to help turn the foreclosure crisis around and help business. We've returned over $2 billion to the people of Maryland by going after corporate wrongdoing, healthcare companies that don't follow the rules, and the businesses that don't follow the rules. That said, I'm a pro-business, moderate, centrist Democrat. I think as governor, we're going to look at a number of issues. One of the issues we're going to look at, and the biggest issue, is jobs. We're getting our clocks cleaned in the economy. As we stand here every year, and Johnny and Senator Dyson, you know this as well, you go to Annapolis, we confront almost $1 billion deficit on an annual basis. Right now, Virginia, right across the river, is putting $1 billion into a rainy day fund. Why? Because they welcome businesses, they welcome companies. They don't tax them out of existence. We need to lower our corporate tax rate from 8.25% to match Virginia's at 6%. We need to raise our inheritance exemption from the $1 million to match the federal number at $5 million. We need to take advantage of our strengths. We're the only state in the country that has the #1 hospital in the country, the only state in the country that has the National Institutes of Health, has the Cyber Command Center, has NSA. We need to bring life sciences and cybersecurity companies to Maryland. We need to support Pax River. My father was the Undersecretary of Defense of the United States in the Clinton administration and was head of procurement, materials acquisition, as Pax River all the time, understands the need to support our defense industry, and that's a big industry right here in St. Mary's County. So we need to actually talk to companies and say, look, we have the smartest people in the country in terms of advanced degrees. We have God's country here in St. Mary's County in Southern Maryland. You need to come to Maryland. We need to have jobs. The second biggest issue that I'm going to be working on is education. So we have the #2 achievement gap in the country here in Maryland. That means there's some really good schools and there's some really not so good schools. And it's not the teachers. We have wonderful teachers. But we need to make sure that we have early intervention, sort of a state equivalent to Head Start. We have some ideas for what we should do with later in high school with kids that don't want to necessarily go to the traditional path once they're 16, to get them into vocational training, if they want to be a plumber, electrician, a welder, what have you, work with labor so that when they're 18, they come out, they can actually read, do math, but also have a certification to go into a trade. And there's a lot of money to be made in that. So we have to work on the minority achievement gap and the achievement gap in general here in Maryland and make sure we support education, because you can't do anything without the education. Transportation, we're the most congested area in the country. Even in St. Mary's County, there's traffic problems down here. We need to address that. We need to put some money into it. We put the infrastructure, we let the infrastructure get behind. Obviously, I've been a prosecutor for 21 years. That's my big issue, public safety. I had a couple Supreme Court cases recently. I personally argued in front of the Supreme Court. We won 9-0 on a confession case, so that the police can actually talk to defendants and get confessions from them when they want to tell them what happened. And then we recently had a DNA case that was very important to law enforcement and made sure that we have DNA, the use of DNA to solve cold cases and other cases into the future. So public safety is going to continue to be an issue. Crime is an issue. We're the 10th most violent state in the country. We're the 4th highest homicides in the country right here in Maryland. That's unacceptable. And then, as Tucker mentioned, the environment. That's a huge, a passionate issue of mine. I look at it from the business side and the environmental side. We want to leave the environment, the clean air, the Chesapeake Bay, the rivers, to our children and our grandchildren. And there's ways to do that without hurting companies. We just have to go after the big polluters, the real polluters, and make sure we protect other folks. So there's a lot to be done as we go forward. It's an interesting race, though actually not that interesting for me, because I've been to this rodeo before. I've done it twice. When I first ran for state's attorney and then I ran for attorney general, the establishment was not with me. The entrenched politicians were not with me. The special interests were not with me. The Annapolis lobbyists were not with me, and we won. I've won 4 times in that regard, and that's going to happen this time, because what they do 9 months from yesterday is the Democratic primary, and they want to handpick their candidate. They want to tell you who you're supposed to vote for and who you're supposed to support. The guy they want you to support has been to St. Mary's County 1 time in the last 7 years. Didn't come here to announce, but they want you to support him anyway. I'm asking for the people's vote. I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for you to look at who has their own record of accomplishment, their own record, who has a vision for the state, who's authentic, who's genuine, who's got the passion, who's got the experience, who's got the desire, and who cares about Southern Maryland. I submit that would be me, and I would love your support. And I'll be around for a while to answer any questions. If you have any personal problems you want to get off your chest, you can address me. Cindy Slattery is over there in the corner. Everyone knows Cindy. If there's issues that I ought to know about, places I need to be, please talk to Phil, please talk to Cindy, talk to Frank Taylor. Let me know, talk to Kathy, and I'll be back. I'm going to be back plenty. I'm going to be here at least once a month as we go forward, if not more, because I love St. Mary's. I want to win St. Mary's, and I think we're going to do that. So, again, thanks for being here. As far as I'm concerned, Phil's office is your office. Stay all day, plenty of food, and thanks again for making the effort to be here. Appreciate it.